Okay, so the AC guys are here today for rough-in. Small house, less than a day's work for, I guess there's 3 guys here. 2.5 tons system, Lennox. It's a 1,200 square foot house, so 2.5 tons is plenty big enough. So we have here in the master bedroom, we'll have a supply air here and a supply air up here. And then we're going to turn this into we're trying something a little different this time to get a little more air circulation in this far bedroom. The problem is, of course, the way it's, there's no place to run ductwork unless you flatten out the ceiling here and then change the look of the room. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a chase. I mean, I've built this floor plan several times, but we're just trying to come up with better air circulation in here. So we're going to turn this into a return air between this stud space here. So once they drywall on both sides, this will become a return air chase. They'll connect up here and seal it in with a return pipe, and then down here, after it's drywalled, they'll cut in the grill, and then this will become cold air. So we'll be drawing the air in from here. But before, we were putting the return air up here and supply over here, and I think they're just too close, plus they're both up high, because here in Texas we use the horizontal attic units. We don't use downflow, they're horizontal, actually. They're not really downflow, they're horizontal. So the pipes are running overhead, and then the return airs are up in the ceiling, and the supplies are up in the ceiling, but they're usually not this close together. You might have a return here and a supply over here, which we'd like to do would be the optimal system, but there's no way to get a supply line over here without maybe flattening out this peak ceiling up near the top. There's nowhere to get ductwork in here, so only this bedroom, and it's just because of the cathedral ceiling. So anyways, that's a little special, unique system that we have to come up with for this house to get better airflow in the master. And then of course everything else is pretty standard. And then the unit, this is the access. This is the bedroom here, so this would be the access panel. It's just a piece of plywood they'll lift up, and then your horizontal. There's OSB here to set the unit on. Of course, we had to do double height 2x4s, so when they insulate, they can get enough insulation underneath the plywood. So the unit is up here. So this would be the return air side, supply side over here. Trying to see anything else here. Yeah, here there'll be the vent for the cooktop be here, and then of course this is a 3-bedroom house, and then 2 full bathrooms and a laundry room. That's basically the whole house, and a couple of closets. So, and again, we have cathedral ceilings here. So we're going to have 2 supply over here, 2 supply over here. I mean, this is the way we've done it. I've built this model multiple times. And then the main return air will be here. The reason we have a separate one for the master bedroom is to get better air circulation. I mean, if this was a higher end house, I'd have return airs for all the bedrooms. Because what happens is people close the door, they sleep at night, and then if you only have a supply air, no return air, it creates pressure in the room, because the air coming into the room is a much higher volume than what can sneak out under the door, for example, right? So you get better air circulation if you do. I mean, if you're doing your own house, if you're doing higher end houses, you want to have your AC guy, your HVAC guy, HVAC, if you want to call it all that, have a supply and a return air in each bedroom. So when people close the door, you don't build up pressure or get negative pressure either, right? So it's not so important for the other rooms, but even though you have a main return air, you still want to have, like I said, a more expensive home, or really if you're doing your own home, you want to have a return and a supply, cold air return and a supply line to each bedroom. And then you also don't want them to run a large line and then split it off. Like sometimes they'll run like a 12 or 14 inch line, and then they'll build like they'll make a box, like a small plenum box, and then off of that they'll branch a couple other lines. That's not a good way to do it. I like to do home runs to each to each room, home run from the main plenum. Or if they are going to divide, let's say you have a bedroom and you want to divide a small one off for a bathroom, they use a Y adapter. And I don't have one here. There's one laying around here somewhere, but yeah, you want a Y adapter like this, so you get good airflow in both directions. If they build another small plenum box and then they start branching off of that, it doesn't give you as good an airflow. The reason they do that is it's cheaper, because they don't have to run as many lines from the main furnace. But yeah, you gotta watch, guys. You know, you gotta you gotta understand what they're doing, because everybody does it a little bit different. Or, you know, some guys will try to get away with doing things cheaper, especially if they give you a real low price. But I want home run lines from the main plenum to each room. Like I said, I don't mind if they use a Y divider, you know, to turn one into two. That's not so bad, but I don't want that like for 2 bedrooms. Maybe for a bedroom and a bathroom, or a bedroom and a laundry room, you know, something like that. So that's something to watch out for when you're hiring guys. You have that conversation before before they start. Anyway, yeah. So that's kind of a little. And of course, then you got to figure out where you want where your AC unit's going to set outside. Now, when I build my houses, I have them pour the pad, a concrete pad for the AC unit to sit on when they're doing the foundation. So here they already know where it's going to be, to run the copper line out for the outside unit, because there's a concrete pad there. A lot of builders don't do that, so you'll have to tell them where you want the unit to sit outside. I try to put them away from sleeping rooms. They're not real noisy, but you know, still it's some sort of noise. Away from windows. Here I've got it behind the master bathroom, so it's far away from as I can get it from sleeping rooms. So it's a small house, but it's the best place to put it. Also, it's on the side of the house that never really faces the street. Like if I have a corner lot, but you know, there may come a time when I do, I'll have to move it on the other side of the house. But you always want to kind of think about a little bit of noise, where you can see it, you know, that sort of thing. So it's something to think about, where to place your outside unit. Okay, let's see what else. Anything else? Oh, here's a Y adapter here, so they'll probably run this to a bathroom. Small line here. See, they make up all the runs on the floor and put them all together, and they make the runs up on the floor, and then they put them up. And they'll get them up here. It's easier to do it than to try to do it up here. You know, they have to get it up into the attic. So that's the way they all do it. They all just put everything together on the floor. You can put the ends on where the grills are going to be, the registers. And, yeah, that's pretty standard. Here's another Wise, a bigger one. As far as bathroom fans, these guys use decent sized fans with a 4-inch exhaust, not a 3-inch. They're quieter. The only thing is, now this is a cheap house, so I just, you know, it's a $200,000 house. So I let them get away with using this stuff. This stuff to me is garbage. I mean, you know, if you're going to build a house for yourself, or if you're building a medium quality or higher quality house, and I have them use the aluminum, it's corrugated aluminum stuff. You know, it comes like 2 feet long, and then you can stretch it out to like 8 feet or something. Costs more, but it's better than this stuff is plastic. You know, I mean, it's not going to last for. This will be replaced in 30 or 40 years. I don't know. I don't like it, but like I said, it's an inexpensive house, and I don't want to pay the extra cost for the other stuff. But as a general rule, you don't want to use this. It's your house to live in, or if it's going to be a higher quality house. I would tell your HVAC guy that you want the aluminum. I don't know what it's called. It comes, like I said, it comes about 2 feet long. It's all scrunched up in a 2-foot piece, and then you can just take it. It's like it's corrugated or whatever you want to call it. You can stretch it out like an accordion. I think you can stretch it out to 8 feet or 10 feet. So it's more rigid. It's just nicer stuff. And then they use couplers to couple the lengths together. You know, so. Oh, here's the AC unit here. So and run their copper lines out here. But like I said, this was done when the foundation was done. I used to get everything done at the same time. Sidewalks, driveway, foundation, just all the concrete's done in one day. Faster, easier, you know. If you don't want people driving on the driveway during construction, then you can. Most guys don't. They already know not to do that because a lot of them have older vehicles and they leak. You can just block the driveway off if you want to keep the driveway perfectly clean. I just find it's easier and cheaper to have your concrete guys do everything at one time. And here's the roof vents here. These will go on the roof. They'll put a couple of the bathroom exhaust, these pipes here, they'll put in here. And then also they have a different one that they use for the exhaust fan for the cooktop, because it's a 6-inch line, so it's a little bit different shape than this. But these are for the bathroom fans. So they'll stick a couple of these pipes up inside of here, and then they'll use spray foam all around it to seal it off, so air can't come back into the attic. All right, so that's pretty much it. So back to work.